Greetings, everybody. I'm really glad that you are able to join us to this conversation about legal protection and professional liability insurance that are offered by to AAUP members and AFT members. I'm really excited about this as somebody who has been working in the field of defending academic freedom and especially targeted harassment of faculty. I oftentimes recommend that faculty get a limited liability insurance. I fortunately have never had the opportunity to use those benefits, so I don't actually know what is entailed in using those benefits. And so, at a time in which so many faculty are aware of the threats that we face, are increasingly coming under fire from our own administration, as well as from online trolls and harassers and Title VI committees and all kinds of different threats that we're facing. We at the Center for the Defense of Academic Freedom and the AFT decided that it would be really helpful to just have an overview of the kinds of benefits that are available. So I'm really excited to work with Tish Olenshevsky, who's this senior assistant to the AFT's secretary treasurer, and we'll talk about the professional liability insurance. Tom is the program manager for Union Privilege and Union Plus legal services. They're the ones who provide the legal benefit that are available as part of your AAUP and AFT membership. And then I'm also really proud to have my colleague and friend Heather Steffen on the call as well, who is the director of faculty first responders, who is working every day with faculty who are facing targeted harassment. And Heather will talk about the faculty first responders as well as the importance of the mental health benefit.
Well, hello, everyone, and welcome. I've been at the AFT for 44 years next Monday, and we've had this insurance available to our affiliates for at least 45 years, probably longer. We call it occupational liability coverage. It was originally very classroom focused, but a very long time ago, we expanded the program to ensure that there was coverage for everybody, because in addition to educators in public schools, AFT has members who work in healthcare, higher education like AAUP members, and public state and local government services. So everybody in some way is touched by the need, especially now with what's happening in our country and the attacks on public workers. So I just want to be clear, it is about defense of members and claims of damages against members. We occasionally get requests or questions from our members saying, hey, I want to sue so-and-so. Is it covered? No, it's not. It's really about the defense of claims against them. I also want to stress that it is secondary. Now, typically that means it is secondary to any coverage that may be provided by your employer. But if your employer doesn't cover, then it becomes the primary. So I just want to be absolutely clear. In the end, if you're not covered in some other way by your employer providing any kind of defense, this then becomes the primary. The occupational liability is also combined with the AFT's legal action trust, which is a constitutional process within the AFT. Part of our per capita actually goes into the legal action trust. And the way that the two interact is really decided by the administrator of the program. Usually the occupational liability insurance covers when it's a single member, but when it's a larger group of people or a local, that's when the legal action trust kicks in. And so it's different from collective bargaining representation. If you think about a threat from the employer against a member, that's usually covered by your contract if you're in a situation where you have a collective bargaining agreement. And I understand that there are a lot of AAUP members who are not in that situation. So this is really focused on threats from third parties. It covers an individual when they have been accused of some kind of injury by a third party. So that's bodily injury, that's personal injury, that's property damage. Those are very broad. And that's why I say the administrator has to decide. So it's up to $1 million per member per occurrence. And some of our members in states in the South actually have higher coverages. There is a higher cap in some places. So it protects if someone has been accused of a criminal act. That's, sexual harassment, sexual abuse, things like that. There is payment up to $5,000 regardless of the outcome, and it's up to $35,000 if someone is completely exonerated. In the case of corporal punishment, which probably would not apply in higher education, $35,000 is regardless of the outcome. If it's an instance of sexual abuse allegations, if there is a settlement, there is no payment because that's effectively admitting guilt, and there is no payment in those cases. If someone has been denied their constitutional rights, now this is really broad. There's a lot of ways in which educators are challenged by what they do in their classrooms and in their work. You denied me access to education by not allowing me to speak in the classroom. I mean, that's a very kind of broad example, but those are the kinds of things that it means. In this case, it's up to $250,000 per member per calendar year and up to $1 million for any one incident. So also part of this insurance is a $50,000 death benefit if someone is assaulted and killed on the job. The AFT also covers all AFT members, including AAUP members. You're covered by a $5,000 accidental death and dismemberment policy. So this is kind of the broad areas that are covered. The next thing I'm going to go to is the cost. It is $6 per month, payable through a payment processing system that we have. Unfortunately, we do not have a way to do an annual purchase, mostly because we don't have any way to refund if someone leaves the union. Because the way that our system works is if a member's record is ended in our system, it automatically ends the payment. I want to be clear that if a claim is made against you for something that happened during that time, you are still covered because you purchased the insurance during that time. In order to get access to it, you have to have your AFT member ID. For all of you from AAUP, that is just your AAUP ID with AAUP at the beginning of it. We upload your data into our systems, and then your member ID becomes ours with those 4 letters in front of it. On the screen, there's a scan code that if you want to request your member ID, you can do that. There's a little form you can fill out there, and we will send you a registration link. You also can download a member card to your smartphone. So anyone who joins today will be in our system, by tomorrow, maybe the day after. If you have any questions about your membership in AAUP, the email for where to go for that is it's membershipservices@aaup.org. If you have any problem registering for our system, the place to go is membership@aft.org. And if you have questions about the program, the place to go is aftplus@aft.org. One thing to know is that there are some AAUP affiliates that purchase the coverage on behalf of all of their members. They are the United Academics of Alaska, Wayne State University in Michigan, the 2 locals at Rutgers. We have a statewide AAUP chapter in Texas, Emerson College in Massachusetts, Portland State University in Oregon, the non-tenure faculty union in Illinois, the United Academics of Oregon State, and Southwest Illinois College in Illinois. I say this because our system is set up so that if you are a member of one of those locals, you will not see the option to purchase it. And that is why. So as far as submitting claims, just like anything, insurance related, health related, whatever, the sooner we know that there may be a potential claim, the better. Typically, you will have your own attorney. We don't have attorneys that represent our members in these cases. So they will work with your attorney. On our website, there's also a claim form. You can call our legal department if you need any guidance. So that's the basic overview of the program. I'm going to turn it over to my friend Tom on the Union Plus legal programs.
I'll start with a primer here on really both plans. Individual access programs on the left-hand side, I'll start with what we call our premium plan. This is an insurance product. Of course, you've probably heard of MetLife, but they are the largest legal plan in the country. We offer this on an individual enrollment basis, so you can enroll anytime throughout the year. It's an insurance product for a monthly fee, which is currently $24.95. It can get a list of legal services. It's over 18,000 lawyers nationwide that you can use, and you kind of get full coverage for things like wills and estate planning. If you do use a lawyer outside the network, though, there is a reimbursement schedule. It's kind of like going outside your health plan, though. It's not going to be as good as coverage, right? They're only going to reimburse a portion. It's not fully covered. They also have a nice feature, which is their digital estate planning, where essentially it can all be done online. all the way through the powers of attorney and even signing the forms, if that's your option. But you can always do it with a lawyer as well. Now, the basic legal plan is our free legal plan. For over 30 years, Union Plus, we've had a free legal plan, and something that we definitely think is a great need for members. We kind of couch these plans as, if you just have a legal question and are interested in just getting some answers for free, you definitely want to start with the basic plan. The premium plan might come into play if you know you have an issue that's covered that you want to address, though. On the basic side, you're getting a 30-minute free consultation on any legal matter, and then a 25% discount off the lawyer's fees, the lawyers in the network. Now, there are 6,800 firms. Those are the lawyers that have agreed to essentially offer the benefits. Now, it covers most legal services, including divorce and, importantly, employment, which the other plan does not cover. So the top non-covered areas for the premium paid plan are divorce, child custody, and DUI. However, there are benefits that you can get for non-covered matters. If it's not covered, you can still get phone and office advice. So if you have a question about a divorce, child custody, or DUI, you can still talk to a lawyer. But if they're going to go on and do some legal work, then there's going to be charges. But our plan has 4-hour kind of add-on benefits. So for any non-covered matter, so if you do have a divorce, you can actually get up to 4 hours of attorney time. What happens is you get the first 4 hours of the attorney time covered, and then a discounted rate with that lawyer would kick in where they will bill you directly. Now, excluded matters, as you'll see, is employment-related matters. This MetLife legal plan is heavily sold to employers as a benefit, so they're not going to cover employment law. If you have an employment question or issue, you don't want to join the premium plan. The other major thing that's excluded is pre-existing attorney-client relationship, and that really means that you have to hire a lawyer for a matter, so you can't join the plan to get it covered if you've already hired a lawyer. If you have a pre-existing condition, meaning there's something that happened 6 months ago that you want to address, that's fine, as long as you haven't hired a lawyer. And then at the bottom there, just to reiterate, so the basic legal plan, the CLC plan, does include divorce, child custody, DUI, and employment. So there really is no excluded matters. It's any personal legal matter. The bread and butter of the CLC plan, though, is more personal legal matters like real estate, wills, and divorce, etc. We cover immigration as well, by the way. And I wanted to go over how to access that plan. So it's free to register, but you do have to register for access. So step one is you go to that website, which has been on a couple of the pages. You'll see both of our plans there. You just click on that Register Now button. It's a really simple registration form. Then once that happens, you get a pop-up screen message. It'll just say, thank you for registering. Check your email on how to request a lawyer referral. Put your name, your email, and you say, I would like an employment lawyer in this zip code or this city and state. You can, whatever you want to write up. There's a comment section too if you want to explain a little bit about your issue. Then within 24 to 48 hours, you do get a formal email back with your referral. At the same time that they email you a referral, they email the lawyer you've been referred to and just say, Tom Cianconi has been referred to you for an employment matter. Expect his call. And that's really helpful because the lawyer will then know, okay, when this person calls the CLC program through Union Plus, this is the benefits they get. The email does have other information like if this referral doesn't work out, call this number. The lawyer, by the way, gets your email address. So if you don't contact them, you would get a follow-up email from the lawyer saying, hey, Tom, I heard you were referred to me, give me a call when you want to, but they don't get your phone number. At the very end, you'll see a contact information, which is our help inbox. If you just send an email there, we can actually send you everything you need to actually access the referral and the email. So that's the process. Just to go into a little bit more about the plan access and pricing, the premium plan is a monthly premium. Right now, it's $24.95 per month, but it includes a full, list of covered matters. During special enrollment periods, we do drop that price to $22.95. After you enroll, real quick on this one, the process is you enroll online, you get a confirmation email. The enrollment letter then, though, comes to you about 5 to 7 business days later, and it is a letter in the mail. It will provide your membership ID number so you can access the plan. I will say, if someone really needs to use the plan right away, if they reach out to us, we can kind of expedite that process by essentially providing your membership ID through an email to you. Usually by the next business day, we can actually access the membership ID and then get it over to you. One really important point, you do agree to be auto-enrolled for a minimum of 12 months, right? So you are agreeing to a 1-year enrollment. If someone calls us and says, hey, I signed up for this and I realize it doesn't cover employment law, we'll get the plan canceled because they made a mistake. The policy is, though, if you do cancel, you can't re-enroll for 12 months. So you're on a lockout period. So the concept is if you join, use the plan, they don't want you then to just drop and then come back 3 months later, join, use the plan and drop. The basic free plan, any time of year, you can enroll. It's a registration. You're getting a 12-month access to the plan. There's nothing preventing you from re-enrolling. The websites and the phone numbers, those contacts come directly to me, help at Union Plus. That 800 number will go through our reception desk. If there's any issue, they'll come to me as well. I definitely can help out. The 800 number for MetLife. If you're interested in that plan, I encourage you to go to the website. It's extensive details about what is covered. There's a downloadable PDF there too that you can grab so you can really see exactly what's covered. It's like a 3-page PDF document.
Do you want to take it over from here, Heather?
I think actually Trish was going to talk about the AFT resources really quickly, if that's all right.
So the AFT has 2 programs that provide mental health resources to members. The first is a members-only program. It is totally free to members. Unlike many of our member benefits, which are available to family members, this one is members only. And it is a trauma counseling program. We put this in place about a month after the pandemic started in 2020. It is an insurance, so it is incident-based. If there is an incident that falls into any of these categories, then a claim is made to the provider and they, can very quickly, depending on the circumstances, get you into a counseling program. But the incidents that are covered, and this is on the job, if someone has been bullied, harassed, or threatened on the job, it doesn't have to be your direct supervisor. It's really very broad. Someone who has been traumatized by witnessing a violent incident, someone who has been infected by a contagious disease, and then someone who has experienced secondary trauma from any of those things. It's hard for me to even explain how broad that is. It's just secondary trauma, meaning you don't have to have experienced some of these things directly, but you are affected by it. Then anywhere, anytime, away from work. So this is 24/7. Someone who is a victim of aggravated assault, someone who is a victim of domestic violence, of sexual assault, who has been a victim of a mass act of some kind, someone who has been a victim of a major disaster as declared by FEMA. So floods, hurricanes, fires, all of those things. One of the things about trauma is that generally if someone has experienced these things, they're not feeling the trauma the next day. So if someone doesn't have to file a claim the day after, if they really are filing a claim when the trauma is affecting them, but there has to have been an incident. The benefit itself is 21 hours of one-on-one counseling support, quite often by, video, Zoom calls just like this. Sometimes it's by phone, it can be by text. Occasionally it's in person. That is a little harder to organize, but it is possible. And then to make a claim, you've got to go to the members only site. If someone doesn't know their member ID, they can call us. We'll have him call you or call the individual just to make sure that they get the support that they need. The other program is a little bit different. It's a program called Talkspace, which you may have heard of. It's kind of more general therapy. It is a discount program. Anyone who goes into the program, they'll get $100 off their first month using our code. So those are the 2 programs that we have to provide mental health supports to our members. I got at least 10 requests for member IDs. You actually can download a card, an AFT member card, and it's got the AAUP logo on it. So if you haven't done that, do that. It's got your member ID. This happens to be Zach's, who's a staffer at AAUP. There's his local number, there's his member ID, and on the back it has more information. So I encourage you, even if you don't want to use any of these programs, you should still try to download that card.
Tish and Tom, that was so fantastic. I feel really well prepared and really a comprehensive overview of the scope of the resources and supports you provided. I want to turn it over to Heather quickly to talk about faculty first responders.
Hi, everyone. So I'm here to talk a little about Faculty First Responders, which is a small organization that partners with AAUP in order to offer support and resources and education to academic workers who are experiencing targeted harassment or politically motivated attacks. So what we've learned sort of from our side of things is that an academic freedom crisis can affect scholars in a number of ways, right? So folks going through these situations often experience fear, isolation, embarrassment, confusion. They will tend to be existing in a brain fog as the world swirls around them. So I think that we need to really keep in mind what Tish spoke about with workplace traumas and remembering that bullying, harassment, and what we might categorize as academic freedom crises are traumatic events that can trigger that counseling. We've also learned that there is a space and a way in which scholar teachers really need to kind of remake themselves and their relationship to their institutions and their careers after academic freedom crises, no matter what the employment outcome is. And so being prepared for that kind of reparative rebuilding work that follows the actual moment of crisis can be incredibly important, and having support for that is important. So we really advocate for folks to tend to their mental health in the same way that they tend to their physical health at all times. And that can mean things like using your faculty and staff or employee assistance program benefits. Often they will offer short-term counseling, and that can often include help to find a long-term therapist and identify your specific needs. And also free and emergency mental health services are often available at the municipal or county level. So it's absolutely worth Googling for your area and having on hand some of that information. You can also certainly reach out to faculty first responders. We are more than happy to help disentangle any of these issues or to reach out in turn to Tom or Trish to get answers with you. So if we can be of help anytime, if you find yourself unfortunately under attack, you can get a hold of us at facultyfirstresponders.com or facultyfirstresponders@gmail.com.
Thanks so much, Heather, and thanks for all the work that you do. And if you know of anybody who's being targeted for harassment, you can send them to Faculty First Responders. We could put faculty in conversations with others who've experienced targeted harassment and can help support faculty in those moments. Thanks everybody for joining us. Help communicate the value of these benefits to your members, and the benefits exist to make us stronger, better teachers and researchers and organizers and defenders of higher education.